Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, which celebrity do Americans want to run for president? Also, what's something you hate that you've never tried? All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show from RadioU. When you check out of a hotel or Airbnb, how do you leave the room? Because one Airbnb cleaner has sparked a little bit of a debate on TikTok after she claims that you can actually leave your Airbnb too clean on your way out. The problem is some people actually go ahead and make the bed when they check out of their hotel or Airbnb. And she says that's not what you should do. First of all, that's crazy that anybody is that much of a clean freak that they're making the bed in a Airbnb that they'll never check back into again. Ridiculous. But here's why she, as an Airbnb cleaner, doesn't want you to make the bed. Because she's going to have to strip off all those sheets anyways. You slept in them. You dirtied them up. I mean, I guess it's reassuring, the idea that she really doesn't want you. I mean, you might as well strip off all the sheets and put them in a big pile on the bed because they're going to get washed anyways. That's actually, I think that's a little bit of a comforting thought. Not just because I like to know that my sheets are clean, but because I make a huge mess in hotel rooms anyways. So now I don't have to feel too bad about it. Nikki and Nene each join me later on in this episode. We got a lot of fun stuff coming. It's the Hudson Show. Target has started carding customers for buying non-alcoholic drinks. You heard that right. If you go to Target, no matter how old you are, and you try to buy a drink that's non-alcoholic, they will card you. Now, it's not just every single drink under the sun. It's what they consider party drinks, which is what they consider to be a replacement for alcoholic drinks. So if you are buying a non-alcoholic version of White Claw, which they make, if you're buying Liquid Death, that would also fall under the party drink category. And so they apparently, if you're under 21 years old, even though Liquid Death is just water, they aren't going to let you purchase that at Target anymore. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I feel like I don't know where you draw the line, because as we just mentioned, we're talking like they're talking replacements for alcohol, non-alcoholic versions of alcohol, which feels like you would want to encourage possibly people to go in that direction for their health. But instead they're carding people. And then how do you know where to draw the line? Because there are hard versions of Coca-Cola, Mountain Dew, lemonade. Are we going to start carding for all of those as well? I mean, what are people under 21 going to be allowed to buy and drink according to Target's rules? Special guest Nikki with me this morning. Nikki calling in because you said you had an issue at the car wash recently.
Well, I didn't know if anybody else, if I have a problem, I want to see if anybody else has this problem to make me feel better or to make me feel worse, like I'm the neurotic one. So I was bringing to everybody's attention a question of, does anybody else get very anxious going through the car wash? There you go.
That's the question.
That's the question.
Not
does
going through the car wash when something. It's just
no. It's just period. I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I went through. It's like a dolphin car wash, and it looked like some European. Fun. No, it looked like a European rave inside. Like very neon, lots of flashing lights.
We don't have it. It's not called a dolphin one here, but I know what you're talking about. It's like kind of see-through, and it's all like neon and stuff inside. It does look it. I mean, it's much more fun than the ones that look like big farm barns. I'm going to be honest.
I don't know. I kind of prefer like a quieter car wash. But for this one, like they're talking to you. They're encouraging you. They're like yelling at you. And I was like, just let me go through the car wash. The guy, and also, side note, they also stand at where you buy the car wash, like at the little kiosk, which is a touchscreen, because they're trying to sell you the monthly pass on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why have an automated machine if you're going to stand there?
Right. Yes, I don't know if I get anxious in car washes, but I would get anxious if there was a salesman upselling me on my car wash.
Well, I want to know if anybody else feels this way. I get anxious when I feel like they're stacking the cars too close, and they are like, if the car behind me would get too close to me, if I don't put my car in drive at the end of the car wash, and it would hit me in the back.
I can definitely see how that could be an issue. Because, too, the people that are like, if there's a person guiding you through, they don't care. What do they care?
Well, they just probably get more of a bonus every time, like more cars get through faster.
Right, exactly.
But this guy at the Dolphin was like, I was like, it's too close. It's too close. I was like, please give me more space. And I thought, how am I at my age afraid to go through the car wash because I don't want something to happen?
No, I get that. And it's a thing too where you see much more on TikTok and whatever bad things happen in car washes than good things. Because nobody posts a TikTok of them going through the car wash and everything's
you
fine.
You're right.
But then there's the guys that
someone hit the back.
Yep, they get into accidents or like they break the mirrors off or somehow like you get sucked into the spinny things and
well, I haven't seen that, Hudson. I think that's usually I should be worried about.
I think that's usually the workers is what.
Okay. So that's
when you're
just
in your
something I wanted to propose that. Does anybody else feel so anxious going through the car wash that I'd rather have a dirty car on the outside?
Well, what do you prefer the ones where you kind of have to like drive yourself or some of the ones here you just get on the conveyor belt and it just takes you through?
Well, the conveyor part's the part that's anxiety driven to me because then the car's behind it and you're just all going through. I get real nervous towards the end when you're supposed to move from neutral to drive.
Yeah.
That I'm just going to do something wrong.
The next car could just be conveyor belted right into you.
Right into the back of you. Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
And I paid for a monthly subscription because I didn't want to say no to the person checking me in.
Did you know there used to be video games in McDonald's back before we all had games on our phones and when restaurants actually wanted you to stay and eat inside? McDonald's have these little kiosks where you could play mostly Nintendo 64 games on them. Obviously, that's a thing of the past, but it is pretty crazy that a person on Reddit has posted a picture from their dentist office where their dentist office has one of these old McDonald's video game kiosks that is now in the waiting room of the dentist office, and that you could actually play, in this case, Xbox 360 games on this old gaming kiosk from McDonald's. Would this make you more or less likely to go to the dentist? I'm not sure. You know what? I'm still not going to go to a dentist. This still frightens me, and I think my teeth are okay, but I'll tell you this, if I did go, I feel like this would make it more enjoyable. When you go through a breakup, how do you let your friends know? I don't think there's ever been a real agreed upon way. Is it like similar to like a wedding where like you let the inner circle know first, your parents or whatever, some close friends, then you kind of broaden it out? Or you can do what Diana Martinez has done. She's 28 years old. Back in November, she went through a breakup with her boyfriend who she had been going out with for 6 years. So obviously that's going to be a big deal to the friend group. What she did was she created what looks kind of like a press release or like an infographic with details about the breakup. And she just sent that out to the group chats. Her image, it says, "Attention, we broke up. Here's my FAQ. It happened on Wednesday, November 15th. Yes, it's his fault. No, we are never, ever, ever getting back together. I require 2 to 3 weeks for any further questions, and you don't have to block him. I'm indifferent." I like that. I like that she covers all the important bases right away. She gives herself some time because sometimes when you go through a breakup, the last thing you want to do is answer a bunch of questions about it. You just need some time to process. She sent that out. It's kind of caught on. Other people possibly adopting the practice as well. I like it. I just like getting everything. It doesn't have to be in a graphic, but everything all cleared out right at the front end so that you don't have to deal with any questions you don't want to. Today's useless knowledge question of the day revolving around William Shakespeare, since it is, for some reason, William Shakespeare Day. The question is, William Shakespeare got married at the age of 18 to a woman who shares a name with a now well-known Hollywood actress. What was that woman's name? 8772 RadioU. Some good guesses coming in. Regina simply says Angelina. Harry guessed Maya Rudolph. Those are both incorrect. However, numerous people actually did get this one right. including Kale, Susanna, and Stephanie, who all knew that the answer was Anne Hathaway. Speaking of Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway, did you know they got married at 18 years old, then had 3 kids in 3 years? That feels like that's barely even possible. So, wow, congratulations, I guess, to them. Also, speaking of Shakespeare, do you care that he's credited with adding more than 3,000 words to the English language? Yet again, I don't know how that's possible. If he was just making up words left and right, how did anybody understand his plays? It must have been like a Dr. Seuss book at the time. Like, none of this makes any sense, but it sounds pretty good. That's your useless knowledge for today, all about William Shakespeare. Happy Shakespeare Day. Yesterday, the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine dropped. I actually went ahead and watched it. I usually go trailer free for big superhero movies, but let's be honest, for Marvel, they needed something to get them back in the win column. We've been saying that for a while. This really feels like it has to be it. And so I was curious, like, is this really going to deliver? I watched the trailer. The first things first is this might not be jarring to everybody, but all of the, and it is Deadpool. So it's an R-rated movie. This is what you should be expecting, but even still, it's a lot. All of the F words crammed in to such a short, just a little bit of a trailer. Is that going to stop me from watching the movie? No, I'm a big boy. I've heard words. It's not going to bother me to go see it, but it was just a lot. And because you're not used to seeing that in most superhero movies, I feel like it was a lot it just was very in your face. They really want to prove yet again we can make an R-rated movie even when Disney is involved. So, good for them. If you thought Wolverine was going to keep Deadpool in line, make him grow up a little bit, be a little more mature, not in the mature way you're thinking. But other than that, what are you expecting from a Deadpool movie? Does it look like it's going to be funny? I didn't feel like there was a ton of laughs in the trailer. I wasn't in here cackling when I was watching it. So I'm still hopeful, though. I know in the theaters, it'll probably, a lot of the good stuff will be, but I will tell you, the visual of the movie looks very cool. And obviously it's going to be very actiony, lots of bloody battles, Wolverine stabbing people and stuff like that. So obviously that's going to be cool. I feel like the jury's still out. I feel like it's going to be tough for it to be truly bad. So hopefully that's, at this point, all Marvel wants is something that's not truly bad, because that'll get people back. But is it going to be, can it reach the heights of previous Deadpool movies, previous Wolverine movies? Keep in mind, some of the previous Wolverine movies have been pretty bad too. So it's still tough to say, but definitely looking forward to it. Nene is here with me. Nene, thanks for waking up early for us.
Hello, good to see ya. You know, I try my best to wake up early in the morning. Sometimes I'll go and work out, sometimes I won't. But today, I decided to put that to the side and come and say hi to you.
Yeah, this is much more important than working out. This is something that was brought to my attention by our social media, which you're, fully aware of. So you should have seen this, but just in case not, some people around the building wanted me to talk to you about this as well. What do you call the things that you add on to Crocs?
Wait, you said this was more important than working
Yes,
out.
it is. It's very important.
They call them giblets, right? Isn't that what they're called, like giblets?
No, they're not called giblets.
What the heck is it called?
This was so important to some folks, Nikki, that she wanted me to bring you in and let you know that that's not what they're called. They're called gibbets, according to social media.
And the world keeps spinning. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
She wanted me to bring it to your attention, and I haven't told her this yet, but I feel that I don't hold it against you for not knowing what they're called.
Thank you. I try my best. Did you see those Pringle Crocs boots that they came out with recently?
Yes, that's where this situation came from. Yeah.
So giblet. Dude,
gibbets.
Gibbets.
That's
Get
it right,
called.
Nick.
I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. So here's what I saw about these Pringles / Crocs collaboration boots. I went online to actually see if I could get a pair. Not that I was actually going to buy them. I got student loans to pay, Hudson. But I saw that all of them are already sold out, and they've been announced for less than a week. I went women's size from 5 through 12, gone.
The ladies love them.
The ladies love the men love them too because they're all gone size 7 to 13.
That's very sad. I wish that there was more to go around.
Now, see, as also when I was looking at it too, they only come in one color, which is like white.
Mm-hmm.
And since I only wear black, like I'm probably not going to get them. They were like, what, $100 or something?
You don't have to justify why you're not getting them to me.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Well, I need to tell our listeners why I'm not getting them because they might think.
They don't need to know either. You can just say I'm not getting them and everybody understands. Yeah, because it's a silly thing. It's a silly thing that no one needs is the Pringles Crocs. But I do feel bad. There's some people that want them. I feel bad they're not going to be able to get them. I can cry a tear for that. But also they're silly and stupid.
Do you feel bad? Do you actually feel bad that they won't be able to get them?
Well, we have our own things that we like that other people think are silly and stupid, and we're sad if we can't get them. So I think that we should give that same respect to Pringles Crocs wearers.
I think everyone should see a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl win. I think everybody should be blessed with that.
Well, there's just some things that you're never going to see. We're in an election year. Before you know it, it'll be time to cast your votes for president. And I know there's a lot of people out there, at least it seems, that wishes we had any other options, but the options we have. Maybe that other option could be Denzel Washington. In a recent poll where people were asked which celebrities they think would be fit to run for office, which celebrities they'd like to vote for president, Denzel Washington was the most popular selection. And before you get too up in arms over that, whether you're in support or not, it was only 13% of people. And that was enough to get him at number one as the most likely celebrity to that people would vote for president. So even him, not a whole heck of a lot of support. He came in at the top spot. Tom Hanks was also very high on the list, as he usually tends to be. He got 12% support. George Clooney, Oprah were some of the other, just like the older celebrities that have been around for a long time were some of the popular choices. The most unpopular choices, by the way, they were asked about 40 different celebrities. The Paul brothers. Definitely people do not want to see them run for president, or at least they wouldn't vote for them if they did. But in this poll as well, 36% of people said out of all 40 of these celebrities, they wouldn't vote for any, which is probably the smart move. Being a celebrity, in what way does that qualify you to be president? Just because Denzel's acted in some movies, I don't know how that exactly translates to being president of the United States of America. And I don't know why most celebrities would run for president. This just shows that Denzel Washington is pretty popular. Why would he want to sacrifice his popularity, run for president, and make a bunch of enemies and all that stress? Honestly, you got to be pretty delusional to run for president, to have the entire weight of the American people on your back, or maybe that's why we get the people that we do running for president, because they don't care that they have the entire weight of the American people on their back. Got a question for you. I'm going to open this one up to the RadioU hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
What is something that you hate, even though you've never experienced it? 877-2-RADIO-U. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who hates Hamilton, even though he's never seen Hamilton. He's never seen Hamilton. He's never seen the play. He's never watched it on Disney Plus, whatever. Never heard any of the songs in their entirety, but claims he hates Hamilton just based off of what he thinks it is and the way people talk about it. I'm not exactly sure. I believe most of us have things like this. I know I sure do. What is something that you hate, even though you've never watched it, you've never experienced it, you've never tried it? 877-2-RADIO-U. And we got some good answers coming in. Ben says the Kardashians. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, Ben, because I just don't know how it's possible to have gone through life for however many years you've been alive and not been exposed to them in some way. But maybe you haven't, sat down and like really consumed any Kardashian content. That's believable. But I think everybody understands. Susanna says being fashionable. Susanna, think about this, though. I believe this is true. Everyone is fashionable to somebody. There has to be somebody that looks at you and says, well, that may not be traditional fashion. You're my style icon. I want to dress like Susanna. We also saw Carl get in saying TikTok. He's never tried it, but he hates it. I understand that. For me, that's Instagram. I don't know if I hate Instagram, but just not interested whatsoever. We also heard from Katie. This is a wild one. Ready for this? Nutella. But this is what you get when you start sharing this kind of stuff. This is why it's dangerous to even share these opinions, because you're going to get people like me going, how can you hate Nutella? I may even agree it's overrated, but how can you hate it? Chocolate? Really? John chimed in at 8772 Radio U saying Starbucks. I understand. There's just an aura around Starbucks. And if you don't like coffee whatsoever, or if you're a real coffee snob, I can understand why Starbucks, you just write it off immediately before you've ever actually had a drink from Starbucks. I also have here Anthony saying that he doesn't like oysters. Well, I mean, you just look at it. You don't need to try them to know that they look disgusting. I got a lot of food. I mean, don't get me started on all the foods that I don't think I can ever bring myself to try. And so therefore I hate them, even though the truth is I'm just scared of them. My answer for me is cruises. I've seen enough about cruises. I just feel like I'd be happier vacationing on land than spending a whole bunch of time on a boat. And I feel like there's a lot of positives to cruises, but I don't think the positives are enough to make me want to do it. So that's my answer. I've never tried a cruise. If somebody forces me to go on a cruise one day, maybe I'll like it. But until then, I hate cruises. I'll tell you that Regina said haunted houses. I told Regina, I've been to a couple haunted houses. You're right to hate them. They are no fun, at least not to me. Annette says she's never had an iPhone, but hates iPhones just because everyone thinks they're the best things ever. Yeah, Team Android. Dylan chimed in. I like Dylan's answer, but I also don't like it. Dylan says he hates Chipotle and Chick-fil-A. He's never tried them simply because of the commercials. Dylan, you're accurate, especially the Chipotle commercials are the worst. I'm on the record as hating the Chipotle commercials where there's a guy off screen interviewing one of the workers while they're trying to cook. He's super creepy sounding. That said, Chipotle, not too bad. And Chick-fil-A, I mean, come on, Chick-fil-A is good. If I started not going to every business that had an annoying commercial, I don't know if I'd be able to go anywhere. Fortnite making a big change here. They have decided they are going to allow users to opt out of seeing overly confrontational emotes, such as the laugh it up emote, the whip crack emote, the make it plantain emote, and the take the L. If you've ever experienced any of these done in your face, now you're able to opt out of seeing them so that you don't have to feel as bad about getting beaten. I am glad they're doing this because I am a very sore loser. I take it very hard when I lose at anything, Fortnite or otherwise, and I lose a lot because I'm no good. I don't need people rubbing it in. I'm a very soft individual, and I need to be protected from things of this nature. So for me personally, I think this is a great idea. If they could just ban, let me opt out of losing completely, that'd be great. The NFL draft coming up later this week. Very exciting. Nene said he's actually going to attend the draft in person so he can watch the Cowboys disappoint him right in front of his eyes. But with the draft coming up, there's also many NFL teams that have been unveiling new uniforms for the upcoming season. That way they can kind of show them off at the draft. One of them, the Denver Broncos, put out their new outfits. I do watch sports. I don't know why I called them an outfit. The Denver Broncos unveiled their new uniforms yesterday. And as seems to happen with just about every single new uniform reveal, people are hating on the Broncos uniforms. There's one comment that comes up for every NFL team every time they release a new uniform. Looks like something when you create a team in Madden, as if that's supposed to be an insult. I don't think enough people are saying what the truth is about the Denver Broncos uniforms, which is they're just okay. Are they really cool? No, they're not. But are they like an offense to uniforms in professional sports leagues everywhere? Not. I don't think so. I don't like they have one uniform that has a white helmet with their normal white Bronco logo on it. That's not a great look. The white on white. I don't think so. Obviously, their throwbacks are way better, but their new uniforms aren't bad. Why do we have to hate on everything that's new? A woman is claiming that her bank caused $30,000 worth of damage to her car. How? Those yellow poles that are in drive-thrus by ATMs and at gas pumps? She ran into them. She drove the side of her car across one of those poles, and it scraped up the entire side of her car. $30,000 worth of damage. That is believable. And she is like, what is even the point of those poles? The point of those poles is so that you hit the poles instead of hitting the ATM or something else important there that'd be harder to replace and possibly cause more damage. The poles, you can just, swap those poles in and out. That's no big deal. If you hit an ATM, that's a much bigger issue. And how can you even be blaming the bank for being at fault here? The poles didn't come out of nowhere. They don't move. You had to drive your car into them. All this said, I have firsthand experience. Well, I guess secondhand experience, because I didn't run into poles at a McDonald's drive-thru, but my ex-girlfriend did in my parents' car. I don't know how I'm still living, honestly.